What is going on, guys? We are back with another rebuild on Madden 23, and today it is of the Minnesota Vikings, a team that I wouldn't say had a weird draft slash offseason, but it definitely, I would assume, for Vikings fans, was not ideal, as they didn't really address all the needs they needed to in the offseason slash draft in general, but they also lost a lot of key playmakers on their team, and specifically on the defensive side of the ball, which they were pretty damn horrible at last season. Obviously, it is the NFC North. That's just how we do things. We don't like defense. But the Minnesota Vikings obviously have a very good offense. Very good. Obviously, they lost Thielen, but he is definitely, or was definitely, on the decline. And obviously, Jordan Addison was a superstar and probably will be a superstar for them, especially after the catch with Jefferson drawing in those double teams. It's pretty much all you've heard all offseason. Jefferson to double team, triple team, and Addison's going to cook, which I agree with. Speaking of cook, will he be here? I don't know. We're going to play it as it lies because he is technically a Viking right now. Josh Oliver, pretty expensive for a blocking tight end, if you will. I mean, that's what got him paid, obviously. Hawkinson was good for the Vikings. I would say that the trade was probably worth it. Offensive line, this is a super improved unit. Darisaw being an 81 is kind of a crime. I'm not going to upgrade him, though, because 81 it's still good enough. Even though for his season, definitely not fair. But I don't want to upgrade and downgrade, every single player. If it's super egregious, which this is, but he's a lineman, I'll change it. But like I said, he's a lineman. Kirk Cousins, maybe the most disrespected quarterback in the entire league. Him and Goff probably. I would say Fields is up there too because I think he has potential, but Bears fans really make it hard for us non-Bears fans to like him because they literally talk about how he's the best Bears quarterback of all time. He's going to be the front runner for MVP. It's like, relax, please. Thank you. We don't need to talk about Jefferson because I would say, I don't know if he's the best way. He's top 3, obviously. I think all 3, like the top 3/5, you could literally interchange them. So I don't really know if there's a bad thing to not be number 1 because there is no real number 1. There's so many good receivers right now. Defense, like we said, we talked about the losses that they took. Dalvin Tomlinson, maybe the biggest of those losses, as this team was really bad in coverage, obviously, but their run defense wasn't any better, and Dalvin Tomlinson was kind of the bright spot of that team. They lost him, and they replaced him with Dean Lowry. As a Packers fan, I pray for you. I pray for you. Of course, this rookie class didn't get to see the field much. A lot of injuries. We'll see what year 2 looks like for these guys. I'm hoping Asamoah can be the guy, as obviously Eric Kendricks is a Charger now. We know that Za'Darius Smith was traded to the Browns. I'm excited to be a Brown. It's like, are you going to be excited to be a Cardinal the next season as well, or what's the story? Packers fans try to warn you. We tried to warn you. You didn't want to hear it. Just saying. Harrison Smith, obviously declining with age, but he's still really good. We'll see how long that lasts here in this rebuild. Harrison Phillips is decent. Jaquelin Roy, good run defender, so we'll see what happens there. Byron Murphy, not the best, but this is a Vikings team that hasn't had a good corner since, I guess last year's Patrick Peterson was a lot better than people gave him credit for, but Antoine Winfield Sr., maybe? I'm trying to think, they really have not had their good run with cornerbacks. They just haven't. And then the replacement for Za'Darius Smith, Marcus Davenport, when he's healthy, is actually pretty good. But that's the problem. He's never healthy. Get a power move upgrade. +3, please. Thank you. Whenever it's a lot, you never get multiples. And of course, it doesn't even get a power rush. He gets a finesse. Okay, thank you. But yeah. Enough of the real-life talk about the team. As far as a rebuild standpoints go, quarterback, I mean, that's the biggest one, because Kirk Cousins is a normal development trait, 34-year-old. So other than me literally having to cheat, we'll see how he plays. If he deserves that, he's gone. He's going to be a 78 overall probably with 85 throw power. He's 35. He's going to go below normal dev. He's going to be super normal. I don't even know what that means. Center, as much as guys like Bradbury are not bad in real life, in game, I'm not really sure what I do with this. He's pretty mid in game. 27-year-old, 76 overall is pretty bad. I really like Ed Ingram. I think he's especially in the game, I think he's a kind of a sleep. Oh my God, he sucks. Never mind. I thought he was like a little bit of a sleeper, but he's actually pretty bad here. And then Ezra Cleveland, we'll see what happens with him, but he's got a little bit more potential than Bradbury. But yeah, pass blocking, a little iffy on some of these guys. Interior of the line needs to be worked on mainly. Quarterback, and then a lot on defense. The whole defensive line outside of maybe Roy, and then we could use another linebacker and potential replacement for Davenport/Hunter, maybe both. Just because of the age and the development is a little odd. 27 years old isn't terrible for Danielle Hunter, but with only 86 finesse move, if he sucks and he doesn't ever get to X Factor, that regression will happen. And obviously if he sucks, I don't want him in general, even though in real life he is pretty good. But once again, especially with Marcus Davenport's potential injury history coming alive, if he's on his own again, he might fall back into the not so great category, which is also the category I feel when I find out that you haven't liked or subscribed. I'm not crying about the fact that you haven't liked. I'm just crying about how sad of a sellout that was. It was so bad. Also, one of the biggest things, obviously, is not maybe even the biggest thing that the Vikings added was their defensive coordinator, Flores, who, let's be honest, probably going to be their head coach within 2-3 seasons if this underachieving business in Minnesota continues, which I suppose of all the times for it to happen, now would maybe make the most sense. That defense, like I said, talking about one of the worst in the league last year, and they just lost a bunch of their great veterans and did basically nothing to replace them. We'll see. Obviously, once again, that rookie class being injured, if they stay healthy, they could be a huge boost, but yeah, it was not a great offseason for Minnesota. Holy crap, 42-7. But speaking of, this Vikings team usually or never wins it all in sim. So we win a Super Bowl. There's none of this like try to win two, become a dynasty. The Vikings literally never win a Super Bowl in the game. Like it's like the one team I'm pretty sure I have not seen win the Super Bowl in sim on their own. So that is an ultimate win in general, and it's a super ultimate win in this sense. So if it's season 1, GG, rebuild's over. But let's be honest and be realistic. That's not going to happen. If I had to guess, it's a 5-year with maybe a Super Bowl appearance. We'll hope. Or maybe we do well. I don't know. I also always forget to show you guys the rookies. I think this roster was by apathy. They had the most. This is kind of like an old. It's maybe 4 days old. They might even have a better one up by now. But they had the most depth in the draft. Most of the picks were done, whereas a lot of the other ones that are even higher downloads are not even dipping into the 4th round or barely into the 4th round at this rate. But this is Jordan Addison. I'm trying to think of how he plays. It's kind of fair, I suppose. I'd like to see the spec catch maybe a little bit higher, catching traffic probably a little bit higher as well. But to be fair, maybe the catching was just upgraded because he started at 73 or 4 and now he's 75. So we'll see. But yeah, very good after the catch. And probably should have possession and aggressive, but that doesn't matter in sim, so I'm not really too worried about it. Other players like Dwayne McBride, the Vikings seem to find some pretty nice later round running backs, which is why you should just probably never draft running back high. That number is disgusting. But yeah, you could find so much talent later on, and it's a position that is pretty common. And as far as Jaquelin, 74 block shed, I think started at 73, might have went up already. 75 block shedding now. Who else did they draft? They grabbed a couple of corners, didn't they? Jay Ward and Mekhi Blackman. They've got some age there, which is not necessarily preferable. But yeah, like I said, it just in general was not the greatest offseason. All right, so the team is really struggling, but they do have a really tough schedule coming up this next season. So I don't know if they're going to go 2-7 like they are right now, but it could be a tough season, man. There's a pretty rough schedule as far as Davenport goes. 5.5 sacks around mid-season. That's a lot of money. I would rather not do that. If he would do a 2-year 22, and you probably have your accountant there in accountant? Really? But I suppose the good thing is we don't have anyone to pay as of right now, so technically, if we want to let Davenport go, we can. But I don't know. I'm really not sure what I want to do with him because 77 overall. 25 is fair. 77 overall isn't the lowest, but 5.5 sacks. I'd like to see a little bit closer, how he finishes. If he gets close to double digit or gets it. All right, this game decides who is the worst in the division. And we are not, which sucks because obviously that hurts our draft pick mightily. Finishing 6-11, which will put us, if we lost that game, potentially the 3rd pick overall. Instead, what appears to be like 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. At worst, 8th, which I suppose isn't terrible for trying to grab a quarterback, especially with the teams in front of us not necessarily needing one. But yeah, super disappointing season for a team that, like I said, defense, we don't talk about it. It's not a great situation. But offense should be putting up some numbers. And I suppose they weren't terrible, but they just didn't win games. And ultimately finished the season 6-11, which I suppose in any rebuild is technically a good thing. But as far as realism goes, I wanted this team to do better than that. I changed the scheme halfway through the season to the Atlanta playbook, which I usually use a lot when we're struggling, when we shouldn't. And it didn't really seem to change much here. Jordan Addison had a great year. Jefferson was great. Hawkinson was decent. Osborne was decent. It wasn't a bad season. It's just lacking of scoring. O-line was really good outside of Ezra Cleveland. Hunter was good. Davenport did not do enough to get himself a contract. Byron Murphy, 4 interceptions, not bad. Greg Joseph, 2-year deal, only missing 2 out of 13, which 1 was blocked. The punter was good. Kick return, punt return game was, kind of non-existent. As far as the awards go, did we win anything? Lucas Van Ness, the Rookie of the Year, and no, we did not. Really, Jordan, I guess he's not a quarterback, but Jordan Addison had a pretty good year. I thought maybe he was going to have a chance at the award win himself. Could he have gone to Superstar? Maybe. Did he? I don't know. The Chiefs versus the Giants in the Super Bowl, with the winner being come on, the Chiefs by 3. That's actually a closer battle than I would have expected it to be. All right, so offensive DevOps. Addison did not go up in dev, and he also only went up like 2 or 3 overalls, which is pretty bad. Kirk Cousins down to 78 overall, like we said. Definitely did not play well enough to be saved either. And then defensive DevOps, not a 1. Wow, okay, what a wasted season. Scene went up 1 overall. I have the sliders on like 135. I might need to boost them a little bit because this is a season that basically didn't exist. It was so lackluster and non-existent bull crap that it was just terrible. It's just useless. I'm kind of curious to see if Harrison Smith will be here, and then are we going to get rid of Kirk Cousins? I don't freaking know what the story is there because 78 overall, bad season as an 84 overall is definitely not good. But I suppose let's start with the retirements. None on the Viking side, apparently, which is, I suppose, good. Harrison Smith is still pretty good overall. 67 mil, which is pretty good, but who do you pay? Because Davenport is not worth the contract. He did not play that well. I'd be willing to give him a 4-year 36, which he obviously will not take. The tag is going to be about 24. Wait, what? How is the tag only 8? Well, welcome back, Mr. Davenport. 8 mil only. Okay, I'm not really sure how that's possible, but I'm down, I suppose. I'm down with it. Let's take a look at the free agency group. This is where we'd like to add a couple of defenders. Quarterback, obviously, is going to be a draft situation, but hopefully there's someone even there. And, man, this sim has been so slow. We need a lot. But is there going to be anyone here for us? Yeah, not really. Unless you pay Josh Allen, which, that's a lot of money, especially for a guy that has no interest in joining us. Miles Jack, the X-Factor, some recent Steelers rebuild we had, he actually became an X-Factor right away, too. Hardman would be interesting as the number 3, but he's asking for a lot of money. Elliott could learn as a superstar behind Harrison Smith, which would be interesting. He's a little bit on the slower side, but 80 zone coverage superstar dev is not bad, and he is only 26, which I don't hate that. I might actually try to get him. Philadelphia is kind of matching our offer. I don't want to do much more than that, so we'll see who gets him. May the better team win. Who else do we have? Terrence Steele, don't really need a tackle, sadly. We could use Reisner, actually, because Ezra was bad, and Ed Ingram didn't really progress, and he's already freaking 24, so Reisner would actually be a decent little contract here, I think. Reisner, highest offer as well, so maybe we get him. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. There's not a lot going on here, so it might just be those 2 contracts we'll end up seeing in the end, but yeah, there's a lot in the draft we need to do. All right, we got 4 names. I'd expect to get 2, and 2 are gone. One of them not one of the guys I actually listed. I thought Barton would have been one of them. We got Reisner, did not get Elliott. Kind of expected that, in fairness. Cody Barton will join on a 3-year, about $20 million deal, which, you know, he's not terrible. I thought he was a little more athletic than that, in fairness, but 79 overall, you know, he's a pretty good player, I suppose. We needed a new linebacker, and we got one. I mean, he's not great, but he's good enough. He's smart. He's good enough. All right, so I have no idea what team needs quarterbacks, but in theory, I'm hoping no quarterbacks are gone until 3, and then we maybe trade up to 4 with the Texans, just in case the Bears take one. Now, if the Chargers take a QB here, it's a GG. I mean, like, it's just, there's nothing I can do about it. All right, so far, so good. Still so far, so good. Okay, I mean, things are looking pretty good. Do we actually get choice of QB? Alrighty then. I have no idea who to choose. 2 quarterbacks look decently similar. Obviously, first glance, you're thinking Singer's better, but Pippen is a year younger. I think it's pretty obvious, though, that the number 1 guy is the top guy, just because his talent grade is also round 1. Quarterback is obviously the biggest need we have. Throw power isn't as good. He's not as athletic, but like I said, that round 1 grade, I think, is enough to make me choose him. Although you look at these 2, and Pippen probably is the better of the 2 because of the elite and the young, plus the size, you know, a little bit taller, same weight. But I think we're going to go with the guy that is the number 1 and the guy with the higher grade there. Paul Singer, please be good. Hidden development trait, that's all you could ask for. And 78 speed, 93 throw power. He's just fast enough. And we have ourselves the quarterback of the future. Hopefully. We're not going to move on to 7 in the second round. There is a lot of players I would love to trade up for the late first, but at the end of the day, we have no third-round pick, and there's a lot of other guys that are good late second, you know, third-round picks. So obviously, I would rather not do that. Who the hell is that running back? I've seen a bunch of C's and B's. 4-4, I don't know why I'm even looking at that guy. But let us take a look at what we have. So left tackle looks okay. This guard looks pretty good. Corner is not really a big need of ours, but as with a lot of the... Ooh, McGee is still here. That is interesting. But a lot of these 6'4 corners are good, and there's a 6'4 corner, so it's like, what do I do? Stewart I must grab. So Stewart we have to grab. We could use another linebacker, but Cody Barton's good for now. You have James Huff and McGee. As of right now, I think it's between McGee and Huff, so let's take a look at these 2. And if Huff is better, we can maybe make a trade down. But 6'2", 22 years old, fast. And of course, I did not get to scout the rest of them, so A to C finesse is a risk, but he's obviously... Well, I wouldn't say obviously because of the size, but because of the A to C finesse, you would assume he's a pass rusher, but I cannot bet on that. And then Huff has an A tackle, and I think he is coverage. So, I mean, we could use him, but I don't know, dude. I really wanted a pass rusher, and McGee, where I think he is an edge rusher. I can't guarantee that, so I don't know if I can make the play on him. We traded 39, 136, and then a 7th next year for 55 and 87 from the Eagles, which is pretty good, I think. Let's take a look at who they traded up for. Watch it be McGee. That would be insane. And it was that position, just not him. McGee is still there. Really interested to see how good McGee was. Unless he's there at 23, then I kind of have to just take the chance. And he goes to the Saints. So Shields is one of my other linebackers. I have 3 of them, but I really wanted Shields or Huff, so I think I'm going to be trading up, which isn't a crazy trade up. I mean, this is like maybe a 6th-round pick probably. So 168 for 3 spots I think is totally fair, and it is. We're going to be grabbing Huff, I think, who, I mean, might be the new middle linebacker too, depending on how good he is. Maybe number 1, because Cody Barton, even though he's a name, he isn't that talented. So he's more of like a depth, piece where it's like for safety, make sure that we aren't going to miss out and, screw ourselves for the future. But James Huff looks really good. So 6'3", 22 years old, hidden development trade. Slower than what I thought, but obviously he's an outside linebacker, so, kind of makes sense that he'd be a little bit slower with that 40 time because that's how EA does it. And then I really want that corner, but we just don't need him. Like, we just don't. We have Byron Murphy, and we have Andrew Booth. So even though he's probably going to be another one of those can't-miss players, it's just we don't need 3 corners, technically. We needed like a 6th in value, and I just did not want to trade it. So 87, 111, and Lynch for 66 from the Dolphins, which will be the safety, I believe. I've seen a bunch of teams that are safety needy coming up, so I was like, I'm not going to risk him because he actually looks pretty good for a 3-4. Mr. Will Stewart doesn't really have a starting spot just yet, but will. I looked at the 40 time and all that, which is obviously good enough, but the speed and excel on that left side looks really bad. We're going to risk it anyways. We're going to see how bad this guy is. 80, so yeah, he is hidden, thankfully, but 87 speed, 87 excel, like I said, that left side tells you more of a story than the actual 40 time does. Usually they do coincide, in fairness, but this time it didn't. Very good jumping, though, so got ourselves a little bit of a Harrison Smith there, which, I suppose, kind of fitting, and I think I'm going to trade with the Texans if I can for the DT and call it a draft, assuming the DT is even there, but I've had 2. One of them is more of a nose tackle, but still, the Texans, see what we can do, if we can get this trade or not. Took a little bit of a dead hit, but Ed Ingram and 103 for the Texans' 72nd pick. They needed a guard. I think it was left guard, but obviously you can just move him over. But here we go with pick 8 in the 3rd round. Radley kind of has normal development trait written all over him, but obviously with high potential. Cortez Britton is still there. Oh, I would hate to leave the draft without at least one lineman, but Jamison Radley, just fast or just strong enough, pretty athletic in speed, A finesse, A tackle, C block shed. It's a home run hit every time, and he is hidden. Very athletic, like we said, not bad at all. Really want another lineman as well. I'm going to go to the next round because I can't really trade up much higher than, maybe the 4th. Hoping somebody's there. I doubt Britton will be there, but somebody, because I've seen a couple of day 3s in there. Hopefully. And the best guy would be Daniel Richard, which I suppose is probably the biggest need going forward. He's a little raw, I don't really know, but I think I might trade up for him. We trade 135 and Bynum for 97 and DiNucci from the Chargers. Losing a little bit of depth there at the safety spot, but we do have Stewart, who will be that for us this season. We can find someone new next season when Stewart's actually the starter. But this pick, I believe, is going to be the center. I do want to compare him to Lambert, though, as Lambert is bigger, but he looks pretty good, too. That impact, like, they're both missing ratings, but pass block and run block showing up there is pretty significant, so Daniel Richard it is. Normal development trait, yikes. Go to the next round. If there's a lineman there again, I will trade up again. A lot of trade-ups. Did make like 1 or 2 trade-downs, but a lot of trade-ups, which I think we're all pretty good other than maybe that center. And all the linemen are gone. Damn. Chargers giving us a 5th round next year for this 6th round pick, which, we've gotten enough talent as is, so we are going to take it and move on to the draft recap where we have a brand new quarterback starting for Mr. Kirk Cousins. Obviously, Kirk Cousins is, he had a pretty bad year, and we took a quarterback this high. It is that guy's time, and what is this sim? Look how slow it's going. But hopefully we get some decent overalls. Obviously, because we had the choice at quarterback, we have to compare him, and I obviously want to see McGee. I keep calling him McGee, but it's Muggy. Some pretty good overalls here. Obviously, the quarterback 74, 76 for the left out, 76 for the free safety, which is awesome, 72 for the DT, and then I suppose the center at 72 isn't the worst. But let's take a look at the quarterback. Paul Singer, pretty good. Pretty good. Trigger happy sense of pressure is fair enough. You can live with it. Obviously, we have to take a look at the other quarterback. Dev trait, 6'1" is a little iffy, but dev trait of superstar. That's nice. That is nice. I actually kind of like 13. Not that I have much of a choice here. Oh, wow. Huff, the new middle linebacker, at least number 2, maybe number 1. Great block shed. Not good zone coverage. Obviously not a pass rusher. has swim move for whatever reason, at 57 finesse move, which is interesting. But he's got some size, so he's a good pick. You usually don't see this on the outside linebacker. It's kind of weird because it's like he's not really off ball, but he's for sure not a pass rusher. So it's like, I guess you put him in coverage. Will Stewart technically would be, no, he's really good zone coverage too. Would technically be the strong safety going forward. So that is where we're going to play him. Don't know what his dev is, but he honestly feels like an X factor. I know that's kind of crazy to say feels like an X factor. He's not. Spoiler alert. And then DT, where would he play? Right end, I think. Not as good as I thought he was going to be. He's got that old man face, which, I mean, it's kind of memeable, but it is kind of like start of element trait. I'm going to leave it, though. Right end, I think, is what we're missing. But let's take a look at the other options. So we obviously took a quarterback. The other quarterback went to the Titans at 10. Mr. Antonio Pippen also hit a development trade. Looks to be a little bit more accurate in the shorter range, but deep not as good. This is very similar in speed, and throw power is like the exact same pretty much. Was it 93 or 94? I can't even remember. Star dev. So if there is actually something to be said about height in the game, that guy's pretty similar, but if there isn't, then yeah, our guy was better because the full dev trait better. And then McGee, who went so much later than he probably should have, as he was a 1-2 normal development trait. But yeah, okay, so this is weird because I would probably have had to start him. If he starts, that's not bad. 77 finesse, 74 block shed, athletic enough. Normal development trait sucks, but it is what it is. You could easily get a breakout. He would have been a good pick. I think it would have been a good pick. And then we took Huff. Shields was one pick before us. Also hit a development trait. A little bit better, going to be honest with you. A little bit better. It was between Shields and Huff for me. I was kind of just letting one of them go before the other. I was going to probably take Shields before him too, but what can you do? The classic wait and see approach is one that has saved us a lot of draft pick trade-ups. So you win some, you lose some. The ultimate definition of that saying. Some would say there's a few running backs on this roster. Oh, Ronald Jones actually accepted the deal. I did not expect that at all. Does anyone want Alexander Madison? Like, anyone at all? There's got to be a team, like the Niners or something. We traded Alexander Madison to the Chargers for JT Woods and some left end. We don't need the running backs, and ultimately he was going to be let go after this season to free agency, so we will take what we can get. All right, here we go. Year 2. The ceiling has definitely climbed higher with the quarterback being a superstar and not 36 years old. Receivers are pretty solid. Addison had a pretty good year 1. Didn't go up in dev. Didn't really go up in overall, to be honest. I've bumped all the sliders about 10 for XP. Offensive line, obviously Reisner's a huge upgrade at right guard, even though I had Oliver wrongfully traded, I'll be honest with you. But once again, we talk about it every once in a while. You got to differentiate Madden in real life. In-game, sure, he had a really good season there, but there's a good chance that he could have another bad season going forward. The higher the overall, the higher chance you have of winning games and winning the Super Bowl, which obviously his highest ceiling at best. You play the full 10 seasons, maybe 83 overall at best. Whereas Reisner's already an 80 overall, which helps us win more games. We'll, sign some rookies and some youngsters behind. I didn't even want to get rid of Ed Ingram, but, I needed the trade-ups, and we do have this Richard guy as the backup now, who's basically the same as Ed Ingram, maybe even a little bit better, but younger, and ready to go whenever. Way better pass blocker, obviously, and in general, his run block's not terrible either. And then looking at the defensive side of things, we have youth with Radley. Still need to replace Harrison Phillips, although as an 80 overall, he's not terrible. He's 27 years old. He's all right. He's probably more of a nose tackle in this Madden realm because he's better at block shedding by a lot than his power move or whatever, but Roy is a little bit closer. Corners, I don't know if they'll be fine, but Booth usually doesn't develop for me. I usually end up replacing him pretty early, so I think we'll have to wait and see, but might be a position we need to replace, and then middle linebacker 2 probably needs to be replaced. Cody Barton being paid about $6 million per year to be the number 3, but he is the backup at like all the spots. So anything that anytime he can get in, especially special teams, he will. I don't think he's complaining. I'll put it that way. Scene didn't really go up in overall, and Stewart looks to be a pretty solid replacement for Smith. which you would assume would be maybe as soon as next season, as he's 34 years old. We have a bunch of money. Hawkinson, obviously, quite a bit of capital to get him. Be pretty dumb not to re-sign him, although obviously who knows what happens. Byron Murphy, a 4-year. Oh, this could be a little costly, but he is CB1, I suppose. 5-year, probably 65. I think a 5-year 65 will get the job done. Davenport, we've been, kind of dealing with this for a while now. If he plays really well, I'll try my best to actually give him a legit contract, but yeah, he's definitely not going to play on the tag twice. That just wouldn't happen in real life. So this is the season where we'd have to re-sign him or lose him, basically. So Ezra for sure, Byron for sure. Don't know when the hell we got Malik Collins. And then Daniil Hunter, I would imagine, although that age, it's a little iffy with the 4-year, but yeah, those are basically the contracts. So super sweet. The game decided to auto-sign Malik Collins and whatever. So half the season belongs to Kirk Cousins now. Yay, EA, great company. All right, we have a playoff spot. Yeah, the game tried to completely screw us, but we ended up fixing it, and our roster was set. And because of that, we ended up winning more games by far when we switched it back. So highest overall was not the best case, as we were like 4-4, maybe 4-5 with Kirk Cousins. Finished the season 10-7 with Singer and company. Love that the game just does that. I love when it autofills. I love when it changes your roster around. It's just so much fun. I hope they never change it. Paul Singer would have had himself a hell of a year. Would have been easily, maybe even an X Factor. Instead, he's 25 touchdowns and 5 interceptions on like half games played. Love it. Thank you, EA. We love you so much. You guys make the best games. Dalvin Cook had such a great season early on. Osborne played more than he should have. He did also get a 3-year, $21 million deal. So we have our 3 wide receivers and starting tight end for the foreseeable future. Justin Jefferson somehow didn't have that great of a season. It's all EA's fault. Just accept that. Daniil Hunter with a 4-year, 82.5, 15.5 sacks, which is nice. Davenport did not re-sign him. And then Harrison Smith, who looks to be a last hurrah, has 5 interceptions. As far as the yearly awards go, Tua at number 1. Was our guy even on the list? He didn't have a lot of yards or touchdowns, but he had such a good touch on the pick ratio season. He still got best rookie. Holy crap, impressive. Huff, the rookie of the year. Quarterback number 7, despite the fact that he didn't even play that much. Dalvin only number 2. I thought he would have won it easily. Receivers not on the list. O-line number 4. D-line not on the list. Linebacker at number 2. And then DB at number 2 with kicker number 10. So playoff season, which is nice. And our quarterback seems to be the real deal. So double win. Weakest links got to be the defense. I don't really care too much, but I will click the last hurrah since Harrison Smith is done after this season no matter what. Might as well get the morale anyways. Don't want to say anything, but it feels like... I mean, I think we all knew this, but sure. Going against the Commanders, this Vikings team, they've played against Washington a few times, like in big games it's felt, so might as well go right back to it. But let's take a look, see if this is our season. Probably not, but you never know. The Niners losing to the Panthers, the Panthers always kill it in sim. Let's go to the end of the game. See if we can at least win a game, especially since it's only the Commanders, right? I don't want to crap on them, but, it's kind of only the Commanders, so, win this game, please. Or not. 21-17, really high score in first half. Down by 1, down by 8, down by 2, up by 5. Up by 2, and we've done enough. 33-21. That'd be a hell of a game. And we move on to the divisional round. Singer, pretty good. Jameis Winston, 3 touchdowns. Robinson and Cook playing the exact same game, basically. Only difference is 1 yard, which is crazy. Addison killed it with 3 touchdowns. Jefferson, 58 yards. Sack totals, 2 for Young, 1 for Radley, a half for Hunter and Jaquelin, 1 for Forbes for interceptions. They missed a field goal with Brett Maher, who is just a disaster. And let's just say we'll probably be off of that team too. I think the guy just hates the NFC East. He's just not a fan. We'll go with the deep threat for Addison, who is now at 80 overall. Pretty good stuff. What are his ratings? Very solid, actually. All right, speaking of Maher, the Dallas Cowboys. Come on, man. I don't want to play the freaking thing. Stephon Gilmore on the team, still the best DB winner of this latest season, which is pretty impressive. Their 2 overalls higher than us. The Cowboys have had some pretty good sim luck, but there's something that tells me we're going to win this game. Right, end of the game, they score the first touchdown. They stop us. They score nothing. We get a field goal. They are now up by 11, up by 14. Turnover. Okay, I was wrong. We are losing by 21 points. Nice touchdown, but that will be pretty much it. We're trying, but man, this team looks really bad. How is the offense this bad? 45-10 when both teams are similar. Okay, makes sense. I get it. I get it, EA. You don't know how to code games. It is what it is. 3 interceptions for Singer, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception for Dak, which is just hilarious. Both teams ran the ball pretty poorly. Very spread around ball for the receiving numbers. Sack totals are as follows. Interceptions, super disappointing. Darren Collins is actually a guy that I had on my list, but don't really care that I didn't grab him because we have Stewart, who is ready to go next season. He looks, probably like 77, 78 overall already and even started. Gotta like it. But, yeah, that is a little disappointing, but we did win a playoff game, so that's fair enough. And then one last hurrah. That will be Mr. Harrison Smith retiring. The Cowboys getting to the championship round. That's how you know it's unrealistic. Is there any rumors? Blah, blah, blah. I don't want to go there so I can still is pondering. Oh, he's not done. He's like, I don't want to go out like this. Well, whether it's this season or the next, it will be the similar results. As I don't know if we're going to win a Super Bowl this entire rebuild, let alone in a season. You're not going to be here for another 2 or 3. I highly doubt it. And please don't, because like we really can't afford it. Chiefs trying to go for the three-peat, the triple. The 3-peat option here. Are the Cowboys going to win? They do. I mean, honestly, at this point, I almost would kind of prefer that in a way. But, yeah, it is what it is. It's disappointment. Offensively, no dev up for Singer, which is shocking. But Hawkinson goes up in dev. No dev up for Osborne, which is a little bit of an L. But Hawkinson going up in dev is, I suppose, a win. Superstar dev there. Singer not going up in dev, even though he's Rookie of the Year, was a little surprising. And then on the defensive side of things, we have Smith going up in dev, Hunter going up in dev, no dev up for Asamoah, and I'm pretty sure Huff wasn't Superstar, right? No, he definitely wasn't, because the other guy we were going to go with was Superstar. Huff was still a really good player, though, and became Superstar, so it works out anyways. And then maybe the biggest of them all being Daniil Hunter finally going back to X Factor. What's his ability to get? Reinforcing. Always get some stupid crap like that, but nice. We'll take the dev ups we got. You know, we got 1 on offense and several on defense. Those are wins. It'd be nice to see one of the corners go up in dev, but that's okay. That's okay. We need a new DT1. Maybe Harrison Phillips gets replaced, and then we need a new edge rusher as Davenport has not played well, and we just don't have him anymore. His contract is up. Well, let's take a look at retirement, see if Harrison was, and I think he's still here. Stewart will be the starter, though, so he would just be the mentor backup kind of player. Let's see. And yeah, he's still here as an 84 overall, which is not bad, but he's just so slow now that it wouldn't make sense. 85 speed. I guess he didn't go down in speed, but Stewart's definitely the better of the two, but he's a very good veteran backup and maybe even could play some sub roles. So, I mean, I don't hate it, I guess. I mean, we don't really need the money just yet, especially with a rookie quarterback, and we're losing Cousins. So, at the end of the day, I think it's fine. But, yeah, no more after this season, though. After the season, you must leave. It is time. Let's see what Davenport's ask is. 3-year, 26. I mean, that's not bad. But also, I'd imagine that interest he has would be there in free agency. So I think it's time to let him go. See if we can do something crazy in free agency with the money we have, and really build something elite at that edge spot. As Daniel Hunter really did not show much in the postseason. Might be because Davenport is doing crap on the other side. And speaking of, Nick Bosa, but that obviously is not possible. I forgot about the quarterback stuff again, dude. It's just so hard to remember it because it's just like you expect it to work, and yet it's always not working. So, like, what am I doing? Like, freaking solve it. O-line is a potential question mark of ours at some spots, but I think that's a position we're going to save money on. We're going to try to get a new center in the draft, and assume we can afford everyone we got currently. That's fine. We don't really need to worry about anything else. be nice to get a new edge rusher. Zadarius Smith, obviously, with the way this thing ended, absolutely not going to be the guy we go for. Ed Oliver would be great. I've done that way too often, though. I just have, and I kind of need a pure pass rusher at this point. Bosa would be great, but there's just no way he's leaving there. Might actually be Davenport returning, unless there's an option in free agency, or in the draft, because, yeah, I mean, he's the only option here. There's really not much more going on. Patrick Queen would be cool, but we kind of have our linebackers at the moment. You know, his ceiling's not that great, so it's like, might as well just draft someone new if we're going to go that route. Jeremy Chin, don't need a safety, although could use a linebacker. What's his block shed? 58, really low in fairness, but he'd be a good coverage guy. Not going to do it, though. Cameron Curl, he's slow, but he's also not as big as I thought. What about Delpit? I think he's also like 210, 213. Where's his block shed? Oh, I'm losing it here. It's right there. Yeah, it's not going to happen. So it might just be Davenport or no one. Like, I just can't even make a play on this. Like, 18 sacks after 17 sacks. Like, there's no argument I can make. So Darisaw has a 5-year option. Same with Jefferson the year before. So we obviously will pick that up. Don't know what the contracts are going to be like for these two, but at least Darisaw for once is actually blocked really well in Sim. Normally these left tackles, they ask for like 20 mil per, and they play really badly. But Darisaw, for the most part, is actually blocked pretty well, I suppose. And, yeah, I mean, I guess we'll give him the contract when it's all said and done, but just not yet. And we have found an edge rusher. I just don't know if we're going to be able to get him. And I'm going to move on to 25 of slow simming, and I realized that, I don't even know if he's here at this point, but I realized that he is more raw than I thought. He is still here. We really have no other option, though, so it'd be coming down to a trade. Super elite athlete, but a B finesse. He does have the B block shed. I kind of have no choice to grab him, though, and normal dev, and that athleticism is nowhere near what I thought it was going to be. It's good, but it's nowhere near where I thought it was going to be. And I also do have a DN. There's really not a lot. This draft sucked. I'll put it that way. This draft sucked. If I can trade up for Mr. Gabe Weeks, I want to right now. I did not expect him to still be here, but we have like no other choice if we're going to try to upgrade that defensive line position. So I'm going to go one. Oh, it's not Chicago, actually. Let's go to Cincinnati. I don't know if we're going to be able to pull this trade off or not, so let's see. I don't even know if this is fair, but 57 this, a 4th this, and a 2nd next year to the Bengals for 26, which I think would be like 2 late 6 or 2 late seconds and a 4th at like worst. So I suppose that's fair, I think. And as far as what we're going to be taking with that pick, it obviously is Gabe Weeks. 6'6", 311, 22 years old, A power, A block shed, super strong, okay athleticism. Welcome to the squad. A hidden development trait. I don't know where he plays. I mean, might be the nose tackle, but then where does Benton play? Not Benton, Jaquelin Roy play? I don't know. But let's go to the next round, and I like that Abraham linebacker. I don't know if I can trade up again. This is like exactly what it would look like if, a super fan was in charge of their favorite franchise, because they would just be trading up for everyone they want rather than, playing it smart and waiting it out. But I suppose as far as what we need goes, all we kind of need is like a center and a linebacker. Abraham kind of looks like that linebacker, and A for a middle linebacker is pretty good. Super athlete as well. I'm going to make the play, I think. Actually, what about Burnett? Didn't get to fully scout him. That zone coverage could suck. He is definitely worse, but man, we really can't trade up, can we? Let's move a couple of spots. Is this a fair trade? We're kind of downgrading, but we have 3 starters now. Harrison Phillips, a 5th this and a 4th next for 71. I think that's beyond fair. I think in terms of Madden, I could have probably gotten him, gotten that trade straight up. But as far as like realism goes, I think that's easily fair. And with this pick, we're going to be taking Mr. Joey Abraham at 21 years old, 6'1", hidden development traits. Don't know how good that edge rusher is, but the other 2 picks so far, based on dev and athleticism, pretty good picks. That really sucks. I was going to make the trade up, but it was the Bears, even though teams trade in a division all the time. Dixon was my last guard. There were 3 of them went right in a row, I believe, or there was maybe like a slight in-between. that hurts because we just lost the lineman that I wanted, and I don't know if how good he was going to be, but I think we're going to be trading down with 25 here, and maybe we can get something like a second-round pick or something. I highly doubt it, but a third and a fourth in the Ravens might be the best we're going to get, but the Ravens are probably going to be competitors, aren't they? Yeah, whatever. That's the best we're going to get. A third and a fourth next year, which I suppose does recoup some of the the losses we've taken from the trade-ups. No second-round pick, no fourth-round pick. We got the fourth back, and we have a third, so 2/3 kind of equals a second in a way, a little bit. So huge drop-off, though, from no late third all the way to where we are now. 6'3" corner. He's 23 with not really good athleticism, but as far as a fifth-rounder goes, might be worth it. I don't know, but what else do we have? We have nobody. All right. So we trade 2 fifths this and a 6 next for a 4th and a 5th next with a 7 this, which I think all kind of equals out in the end. Yeah, they get the back-to-back picks. We had no one there, and in the 7th round, we might take some sort of, I think, fullbacks. I think we lost C.J. Ham. Best guy kind of looks like Dylan Russell, another 23-year-old, 85 strength, which is really high, but it's always these damn 23-year-olds. Of course, it's a fullback, kicker, punter. I don't really care as much, but it still is, I want the youth, right? The youngest possible. Something Jeff nothing would say. Looking at the overalls, only 4 players, but 2 of them being in the first round cost us a lot of trade-ups. Use a lot of our, 3rd to 6th round spots to trade for next year. So a thin class of, quantity, but a lot of quality. Haynes, 74 overall, 76 block shed, 76 finesse, 74 block shed. Very athletic, though, has, all the traits. Injury's a little low, but he looks good. We're obviously hoping for a dev up early, maybe a Rookie of the Year candidate, who knows. And then Weeks, who is really good, actually. 76 power move, 78 block shed with hidden development trait. I don't know what position he's playing, to be honest, but, left end, right end, one of them, I suppose. And then the middle linebacker was hidden. Does he have a spot? And then we trade off Asamoah? I don't even know, but zone coverage is good. Block shed sucks, but he's young. We've seen what happened with the, Huff last season. Could we have something like that happen for Abraham this season? That's kind of why I want him to start. And then the fullback, who gives a damn? We're going to be trading Asamoah to the Seahawks for Boya Mafe. I need a backup edge, and Asamoah is going to be number 3/4, so it would kind of be dumb to keep him around. Huff as the 1, Abraham at 2, and Barton, who is maybe the luckiest paid person in the world, at number 3. Here we go for Season 3. Got a couple of superstars on the offense with the 2 X Factors. Addison not being a superstar by now is a little bit of an L. Also only 80 overall. The reason why it's a bit of an L is because he's actually played well. If he sucked, fair enough. But he's actually had some pretty good seasons, and yet still only star development trade. It looks kind of like a pretty decent trajectory for him in real life as well. Really wish you would have landed a younger offensive lineman or two, because as of right now, if we decide to let go of Bradbury and Reisner, we don't really have anyone developing in behind, right? Like Richard is, he's 73 overall. He's barely moved an inch. So we've really not done well there, but yeah, what can I say about it? That's it. We haven't done well there, and the defense is still pretty bad. We've got a little bit more devs going on. Haynes, we really need to have a dev up, whether it's a breakout or end of the season, Rookie of the Year, whatever it is. Roy has been terrible. He's a 72 overall after 2 seasons. He sucks. And I have the sliders at 147 for DT, so he needs to be replaced probably. So, realistically, we probably could have kept Harrison Phillips. It's too late now. And yeah, there's that. Maybe we can actually make a trade because it's not too late. And because he's really bad. He sucks. He is really low overall. It's a little costly, I'll admit, but we ended up trading a full first-round pick to the Jets for John Franklin Myers. He's only 27 years old, and he is very solid for his rating. 90 finesse move, 81 block shed. I think with that, Gabe Weeks will play the DT spot because he is the biggest by far. And maybe we trade Roy off for a 5th-round pick or something. I don't know, because he's just not him. Simply put, he's just not him. And yeah, it's a little iffy because we have no 2nd-round pick or 1st-round pick now. But at the same time, really, the only thing we would need now would be some backup linemen for the future. So I don't hate that move. 85 overall for a 1st-round pick. It's a little low, but like I said, 90 finesse. He's a dual style threat guy. Like, he's good. He's a good player. I kind of wanted a lineman for Roy, but we're going to go for Brown from the Cowboys. Get ourselves a backup safety. We're going to trade him for this lineman instead. He ended up using a 7th round pick. I don't even know what that guy's dev is, but the fact that they didn't let me trade right away makes me think maybe he's star. He's not. That was a wasted pick, but he is young, so obviously we'll have him as a backup for some time, whereas we can trade this trash can off, even though the other guy's just as bad, probably. Yeah, that was just a really stupid sequence. Let me put it that way. Hey, Weeks is already 10 times better as the DT1 than Roy, as he is 10k XP richer. All right, we're having a really bad season. I'm not really sure why. Justin Jefferson, he's always been a really tough guy to re-sign in Sim, so in franchise, so hoping. Nice, 5-year, 155, which obviously 31 mil per year anyways. Reisner, another cheap contract. This guy's just like, he's just happy to play football, dude. Okay, never mind. He sucks. I hate him. What else do we have? Those were about it. I suppose Bradbury's not bad, because then I would have to call him Badbury. Sorry for making you sub. I mean, he's not bad, but I would prefer not to do a 2-year. Like a 1-year would be better. So we don't really have that much like draft capital, obviously, but at the same time, would be nice to start actually developing linemen rather than, going for these old dudes. Let me tell you, the Jets made a good trade with us. As even if we win this game, which do we? We do. They get a top 20 draft pick from us for Mr. John Franklin Myers, which is super win for them. No bonus for us winning or losing like this. Singer was pretty good, but worse than last year. Technically, Dalvin was way worse than last year. Jefferson, way better. Hawkinson was decent. Addison was terrible. Osborne was terrible. Unless, the playbooks change on their own, I don't know how the team is way worse this season than last when we didn't change anything. Haynes was decent because he was a rookie, 7 sacks. 10 for Hunter, 11 for John Franklin Myers. So kind of a win-win trade, right? 11 sacks on the interior for us is way better than we've had this entire rebuild. Greg Joseph was terrible. Punting was bad. Kick return, punt return game was not great. It was average. Just we didn't have no touchdowns. That's what I say every time, but it's kind of dumb because it's not common to have kick return, punt return touchdowns. But Offensive Player of the Year, Justin Jefferson. Defensive Player of the Year, not on the list. Offensive Rookie of the Year, not on the list. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Haynes, who we absolutely wanted to win that, so that should be dev up. Dowdy goes to Superstar. Quarterback number 6, fair enough. Running back number 9, fair enough. Wide receiver number 1. O-line number 5, who back up. D-line number 2. Linebacker number not on the list, surprisingly. DB not on the list, and then kicker definitely not on the list. So we probably did get a couple of dev ups, hopefully one of them being John Franklin Myers. But yeah, 7-10, useless season. The Bears are in the Super Bowl at 14-3. Who the hell did they gain that makes them that good? Let's see it. Are they going to beat the Ravens, who we have a 3rd and 4th round pick off of? Yay. Rooting for the Bears for the first time in this rebuild or wherever. They win the Super Bowl. What is their overall? There's no way they're higher than us. We are, 87, 88 overall? We are in 87 over. The Bears are 86 in fairness. But really, okay, so we missed the playoffs by a lot with a higher overall, and they win the whole Super Bowl. Seems fair. Dev ups on offense. Jefferson's already maxed, so yeah, there's no dev ups there. And then defense, nice. John Franklin Myers goes up in dev. Abraham did not, but Haynes did. This was obviously the biggest one because we traded a very high pick for him, and he's worth it. I mean, at least for the first season. Obviously, we can completely sell next season or whatever going on, but worth it, I think, right? You get that kind of a level from him, that kind of a season. 87 overall. You're not going to get an 87 overall 28-year-old, in the draft, especially that 28-year-old part. And then Haynes, with Rookie of the Year, obviously gets a star dev up. A little bit of a lackluster season, but I guess 7 sacks is, basically what Davenport did, and Davenport obviously is way more developed and had more time in the league than Haynes did, so we'll see what happens there. But, not a whole lot of draft capital. What you would look to go for is a center and probably a right guard, and then I suppose corner wouldn't hurt. But, yeah, I mean, even though we don't have much draft capital, we do have our whole roster set as long as we can afford them, which, I mean, with 82 mil left and only losing the center, I can safely say we're going to be able to afford them. Darrison might cost a little bit, but other than him, I mean, it's not really too worrisome. 104 mil, actually, even higher than 82, and almost all of this is rolling over. Garrett Bradbury we could get in free agency if we really wanted to. I don't think I want to, though, and I think Mackay should actually be here one more season, but he's 27. I really don't care that much, to be honest. So, yeah, new center, which we could actually get here in free agency, new special teamers, and then future-proofing. That's really all we need to do. Let's see if there's anyone in free agency to do that for or with. I would imagine the special teamers, but I don't know about the center. Don't really want Garrett Bradbury back, but he wasn't bad. It's just, I got to assume that we're not making the playoffs because certain overalls need to be higher or something like that. So, trying to make that as, high as possible. Some pretty good young players in here. Tyson Campbell would be interesting, but, I guess he's actually probably a level of talent that would maybe make it to free agency. Trey Hendrickson, a year too late, pal. We got Haynes now. Horn, nobody wants. Okay. And it doesn't look like... Oh, unless we go AVT and put him at center, which is... he's pretty versatile. That might be the move. I think that might be the move. Especially since he's not really asking for that much. Could we do like a 3-year 35? 3-year 35 would be perfect, I think. 30-year 36 even. Give it to us. Oh. Yeah, I mean, that contract's pretty favorable. I can see why everyone wants him. I would be willing to do a 3-year 39, I think. Is that going to put us on the top? Like, this is just so random. Like, who gets him? And I really want JC Horn. I just don't feel like it's the most realistic move. Oh, man. Like, why would he be here? It's just like, why would he be here? AVT you could see, but Horn, I don't know if I could see that. Could go DJ Reed. He would make a little more sense, and he would be a nice slot corner. Maybe even number 2 at times. I don't know, but I guess I'll add him if he wants to join. But, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I don't think we could really do much more than that. Or maybe like a decent backup, I guess, at running back. All right, here's our 3. AVT, obviously the number 1, but I doubt we get him. We got him! That is like the ultimate lottery. Obviously, a 3 or 42 it's somewhat costly, but... I mean, even then, it was still, we weren't even the highest on the list. Mitchell, 3-year 14 for the good value at backup. They can have DJ Reed. I'm actually happy at this point. I'm happy with what we got. Nice! That's a huge win, dude. I also didn't notice Stokes there. 3-year 19, that's ultimate value. Why not? Add another cornerback to the list, and boom. Decent free agency. So we're in the draft. I know there's a very interesting name there. But we're in the draft. Obviously, we have no first or second round picks. There are 2 DT types that are here that are 2 to 3s. And depending on who is there and when they're there, I may make a trade up because I am a little iffy on how the development for Radley is gone. So even though he is, supposedly the guy, he has definitely not played like it, so, I mean, realistically, like I said, the positions of need would be future stuff, which, if Radley sucks, that sounds like future to me. Pick 17. The other guy we have is Bowman. Looks decent. Browns, what do you guys need? Doubt you need a 3-4 defensive end. Can I get rid of another draft pick next year? Second next, 4th this? That doesn't really seem like it would make a lot of sense. Was that 4th this is at least like basically a 3rd. So I think that's fair. They're also broke as hell, so they should probably be looking to not spend money on draft picks this season. But either way, I'm going to be taking the remainder of those 2 guys. Corey Bowman, who I actually kind of liked more anyways, is 22 though. Very athletic, decent bench press. Please be hidden. He is... Depending on that overall, those ratings could actually start over Radley. Because once again, Radley has literally played badly. Yeah. And I'm hoping... Oh, my lord. I bet you I just sold. I was like, I'm hoping all my linemen are there. Literally the first pick in the 3rd round is one of my linemen. Just moved all the way to 12 after that happened. Okay, we do have 2 linemen still. And they're both pretty good. I think we're going to trade up for Hightower. I guess Austin would be more of a need because he's bigger, so he can kind of play a little bit more around the line. Mitch Austin's going to be the pick. Hidden development trait, strong as hell. Pick A was an A. And then let's trade up to the Colts, as that's kind of the only other player I really care to draft. And it shouldn't cost us too much in that case. Nick Bosa's there. Yeah, I mean, that's something. 95 and 127. Seems pretty fair, I'd say. Oh, it's so fair that... Oh, come on, man. That they're like, hey, let's add a little more to that, shall we? No, but in this case, yes, you win. And for the other pick, Mr. Hightower, 21 years old, a hidden development trade. So we have 2 hidden development trade future linemen. We have a new DT. I mean, as far as a team without a first and second round pick goes, we did pretty good, especially for offensive line. We've drafted the best we have this entire rebuild. Been missing out on linemen left and right. This time, though, we landed them. And the last guy would be a running back who is UDFA, but he looks really solid. If it wasn't for that A break tackle, I would have never even noticed him, but he was like one of the last remaining players on my screen, so I barely caught him. I think I'll go for him, but I'm not going to go crazy. I'd rather trade down a few times than if he's in there in the 6th, which I don't even know if we have a pick there. We do not. Let's try to trade to the 6th and then grab him, I suppose. We trade this for that. Simply, oh, I hate this game. What was it? Do they not have the pick anymore? Did I go stupid dumb? Do we? I mean, I guess it would be us because we're still sitting here. Oh, my. It was literally like full green. Why would they do that? And the running back still is there. Damian Bates, 21 years old, 91 speed, 91 excel. Agility's iffy. Change of direction is terrible. And he cannot jump at 82 strength. Once again, that's probably top 5 in the league. So if he's just a straight line runner, that's a decent pick. And I don't know what the devs are, but I will say their overall's pretty bad, actually. Corey Bowman would be the new, good finesse, new right end. If he was going to start there, I'm going to put him at right end, but I don't know if he's actually going to get the start over Radley. Kind of want to see Radley's ratings. He hasn't played well, but I imagine his ratings are at least decent. Star dev for Mr. Bowman. Austin, who would be, I guess these guys are pretty much like long shots to start anyways. He would just be a right guard. I'm kind of curious. The devs, just going to take a look. Number 69, that's 59. I need my eyes checked. Star development trait, and then for the center, I will take a look at the running back because I'm curious. The running back, this guy's pretty polished, actually. But running backs are super hit or miss overall-wise. They could be so bad overall, but actually good. And we'll see if that's the case here. Once again, that strength was pretty good. And yeah, in my opinion, this is another one of those cases where like the overall is a 69 overall, but this is a great 69 overall. It's a great 69. Change direction obviously sucks. Spin move sucks, but 91 speed, 91 excel, 83 trucking, 82 stiff arm, 82 strength with great injury, stamina, and decent toughness, I guess. He's pretty good. Wearing number 14 is disgusting, but outside of that, he's A-okay in my book. We're also not going to judge what Damian does. Over here is the team for Season 4. Offensive line is better than ever. AVT kind of being wasted by playing center, but it is what it is for now. Actually, probably could put Reisner at center, but yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter at this point. Wide receiver is Addison. I would love to see better than he is, but he's still only 24 years old. So outside of paying him, there is no complaints with him. And everyone else is great. Looking at the defensive side of the ball, Haynes was okay year 1, so we're hoping we can build on that. And Bowman gets a start over Radley because they're very similar in like pass rush ability. Radley has done nothing, and he is several years older than Bowman. Bowman might as well get the shot. Cornerback is also a question mark. We've been kind of like lived with Byron Murphy here, but he's actually not great. So if there's a free agent corner that's solid, we might have to just take the salary hit with Murphy and just replace him, I guess, because as far as the defense goes, longevity-wise and just ceiling-wise, he's kind of the odd man out here, right? Like, free safety, you expect to go higher. Linebackers expect to go higher outside of Hunter, who's already an 89 overall. D-line, Bowman's young. Weeks is young. Booth is kind of young. It's really him, right? 27 years old, and ceiling isn't looking great. It's really him. But, no second-round pick this year, but a first-round pick, and in general, kind of set at a lot of positions. And we were really bad, but for some reason, the quarterback got a breakout during that stretch, and we finally won a game, and he's an X factor now. I'll even spoil it a little bit here. This is the season. 2-4. We were so bad, didn't change the scheme at all. Before that win, I was actually going to, and I might still, especially if we lose here, even though the Cowboys are a good team. It's just good timing, I guess. and we win. So maybe the team will just turn it around on their own. EA is back on my nerves again. We got a lot of players to re-sign. We do have a lot of money, but not infinite money. I mean, you kind of know the deal, right? We're going to re-sign Lewis Seen, re-sign Booth, re-sign Darisaw, re-sign John Franklin, likely to re-sign Cook, and I mean, that's pretty much it. Well, special teamers as well, probably, if they're playing well. Hell of a turnaround in the season. Will it be enough? We have to win. We have no choice. We do, and we make the playoffs. I don't think you understand. All right? I did not change the offense because I looked at the numbers. They look great. We were 4-8 and won 5 games straight with multiple of them being within one score. One score being 3 points. 2 games, the exact same score. And we sneak into the playoffs. I don't think you understand. Were we the last seed? We might have been the last seed. Number 7. We yoinked a seed from our own team, our own conference. The Packers, it would appear, as the Bears are the division leaders. Unbelievable. Once again, did not change the offensive scheme because it was looking great. Changed the defense halfway through to the Green Bay Packers, which we still lost 2 games in a row. And I was like, okay, well, that doesn't really matter. The Packers are the number 1 team on wow. They were the number 1 team on defense at the point, and they were a 3-4. So I was like, screw it. Copy them. Why not? Pass rush, John Franklin Myers, still consistently great. Hunter, terrible season. Haynes, I mean, worse, but not by much, I guess. It's just pass rush sucks in 3-4s. I don't know what else to tell you. Loftus, the new kicker, ended up giving him a 2-year $8. And then the new punter, he got a long-term deal. He is here forever. We obviously lost Nwangwu in the free agency, and there we are. Offensive player of the year goes to our wide receiver, Justin Jefferson, and best wide receiver in general. We're in the playoffs, but we're the Vikings, so I mean, who knows how far we go. The Eagles, 87 overall. We're at 90 overall, yet we're barely sneaking into the playoffs because this game is just flawless. If you're not a 4-3 team, you're basically at the majorest of disadvantages. And yes, majorest is a word in this case. This would be impressive. This would be insane if we ended up winning the Super Bowl after a season like this. I mean, who in the world would expect a 4-8 team to make the playoffs and win the Super Bowl? I wouldn't, and there's a good reason for it, because it's probably not going to happen. But we're now down by 10 second half, and that's going to be GG. The EA is just really good at making video games. So what can I tell you? They're just flawless. Best team in the league, struggle against everyone. It is what it is. Quarterbacking, Jalen Hurts, perfect. Singer, pretty bad. They had like 6,000 touchdowns. I mean, it pisses me off, but I mean, if you've played Madden this year, if you played FIFA this year, I mean, really any year, but this year specifically, you're not even really mad anymore. It's just laughable. It's just like a hilarious joke at this rate. Literally the worst installments of their games. It's crazy, especially for Madden to be honoring John Madden with literally their worst launch ever. And this stuff is like the light end of it, because you can make the argument, oh, well, I mean, better teams lose all the time, and sometimes in blowout fashions it happens, but it's just so consistent that this happens to us that it's tiring. But regardless of the point, we will play one more season. Maybe it's the season that gets us. Obviously, something's got to give. Fool me once, shame on you, whatever, all that stuff. Keep doing the same thing without changing it, without, the same results. You're crazy. All that stuff. We're going to change to the Chiefs scheme. Call it a rebuild afterwards. That's really all I can do. Let's take a look at the DevOps. Obviously, the quarterback's already an X factor. Jefferson's obviously already an X factor. Can't really change much with what we've got. Addison obviously didn't play that well. Linebackers, everything's the same. I think John Franklin Myers did go up to X factor though, which I know he did. Which I think is the only DevOp we had. He's been worth the trade. It's crazy. He's been the biggest contributor on that pass rush front. Yet, we have talent. We just haven't really developed it. Bowman's supposed to be the right end. I would imagine he did start. It's just end of the season kind of gets messy, and he did, but it is what it is. I don't know. I guess let's go crazy in free agency if there's a possibility of it, and maybe make this a Super Bowl winning season. All right, Jalen Hurts putting up a crazy playoff performance, gets sent to free agency as a 96 overall X factor, as you do. Terry McLaurin, very good overall, but I guess if you want to make the argument he's 30, I don't know why they would get rid of him. Joel Bitonio, there's really not much we need. It's just that the game has been really unfortunate to us, so yeah, outside of a cornerback, there really wasn't much we were going to be able to upgrade, and there be no cornerbacks. So that's really about it. I guess we maybe draft a corner for future-wise, as once again, Byron Murphy is not the greatest. He's a good enough number one, but he's not the best. And yeah, we saved the rest of the money, which we probably need for the quarterback soon anyways. Also, shout out to James Daniels, who's superstar dev all of a sudden. It's not easy going up in dev as a lineman. It's not easy. All right, so I'm going to guess cornerback is one of the big needs for the future. There are multiple cornerbacks, and none of them are like a sure thing. This guy looks pretty good. He's a round one, which worries me because you would think he would have been gone by now. Great speed, great agility. Everything else kind of iffy, though. But pretty good ratings, but wins at that zone coverage is a D. Then you have the 6'3 Tompkins, who's pretty damn fast, great speed, elite excel. I think he is the front runner in my book. And then you have Mr. Rashard Battle, who's great speed, elite excel, elite agility, 1 to 2. I debate on trading back to gain some value so we can get Dominique Hall, who's a fast wide receiver who we kind of need. But I worry that Tompkins would go, and then I'd be stuck with Battle. So I'm going to go with Tompkins. I'm going to regret it, and it is what it is. Yep, I knew it. We trade Radley in 98 to the Seahawks for 47. I imagine he's more of an ET for them than he is an edge rusher, but he was actually pretty athletic, if I'm not mistaken, so maybe not. But with this pick, we're going to be taking Dominique Hall, who is kind of a true slot type, which, I mean, he actually is very similar to Addison, but super athletic, and welcome to the squad. Not surprised to see him normal dev, but also super L for the final season, where we don't upgrade the team at all after a barely made it playoffs but got smoked anyways trip. We trade 86, 150, and then a 7th round next year to move up 12 spots with the Lions, which we will be taking an offensive lineman who we probably don't need, but are taking anyways because you can never have enough linemen if it wants to show them up. I at least believe so. We do have a tight end, but it's a backup tight end. Who the hell cares? It's boring anyways. But more fun as that is an offensive lineman, obviously. Athletic, strength is okay, hidden development trait, win. And never mind, the tight end's still there. Anthony Proctor, who is pretty athletic, normal dev, very athletic, actually. Like, that is superb athleticism. Obviously, he's only 6'2 anyways, but that's pretty sick. We got ourselves a backup tight end. I don't know how good he is, but went for pure athleticism, and I think it was a good decision. I mean, as far as like a user league goes, that would be a good decision. And then I don't know if we have anyone else to take, so we may be trading down. And we are. All right, 75, 75, 73, 70, and then some random quarterback. Who was hidden? Just the center? Who even gives a damn? But I guess we'll take a look, because otherwise someone's going to think that I'm changing his dev to superstar behind the scenes or something. Not that I really care too much. And could you imagine if he was superstar? It would have been perfect timing. The cornerback was a 75 overall. The wide receiver was a 75 overall, but yeah, the fact that they're not hidden is pretty bad considering they're not really starters. The wide receiver is actually pretty good. He's a little raw on the route running, but great release, great catching, and obviously athletic. We had options at multiple corners, so I suppose we should take a look and see who we could have had instead. Perriman was one of the guys. Glad to see that he was hidden. Love that. That's super fun. Great decision by us. Can't wait to see Superstar. He is only star, but still better than our guy automatically, especially considering our guy isn't starting, so he will have like zero chance to get a breakout to become star. And then Battle was a 76 overall. Yeah, and he's hidden. I was about to say, no matter what, better than our guy, but the fact that he's hidden, also even more better than our guy. What's his dev? He is star dev. Glad to see that we made 2 bad errors. Was there another guy that we forgot about? Make me feel even better. Why the hell not? And I don't think there was, but still, we took the worst of the 3. I went for the height, and I got burned. I don't know how old Brandon Jones is at this point, but a young center for Brandon Jones. Get some depth. All right, here we go for the final season. Got the Chiefs playbook on, and we're ready to lose, probably. Justin Jefferson maxed out, so cannot use those upgrades. Sadly, basically 99 everything, which is pretty insane. Even his speed and excel, I believe, went up several. The offensive line, not the best, but the tackles are like basically 90s. The center's really high. I mean, it's a good offensive line. And then defensively, Guys really haven't fully developed, but, I mean, what else can I do? I've done everything I can. 15k XP for another breakout, but obviously he's already an X Factor. Playbooks mean everything as we're having a really good season. Guys like Huff, I think, are must keep, whereas guys like O'Neal might be must lose, honestly, at this point, because money's kind of catching up with us. You know, got to keep Stewart, got to keep Addison. That's going to leave us with like 30 mil. We did give the 5th-year option to the quarterback, but that's still another 20 mil unaccounted for. So, you know, without O'Neal, we're barely scraping along. With him, I don't know if we can afford it. That's 20 mil per. O'Neal's gone. This is the best season we have for a chance to win it all. Simply put, 5-year 47 is pretty nice, but that's kind of where his value is, in my opinion. And then Stewart, obviously, a 4-year. We'll probably do like a 5 or 6-year. And we'll probably keep a good 35 mil left for the quarterback next season. Really good season. I guess the Atlanta playbook is kind of trash because we're 15-2 with the Chiefs playbook. Kept the defensive scheme of the Green Bay Packers. I said that was what we were going to do, and that's what we did. Yeah, I mean, it could have been easier opponents. I didn't really pay attention fully from last season, but losing only the Bears and the Packers, which are division rivals, huge loss to the Packers in fairness there. But a bye week at 15-2 tells me that this scheme is the juice, although Singer did not play well. He had a great touchdown to pick ratio, but touchdowns in general were low. Cook had himself a really good year, in fairness. More spread out, but Addison's still really low. Outside of those first 2 seasons, not really his thing. Hawkinson should be an X Factor, though. Tackles specifically, I don't know what specifically instead of specifically is. O'Neal, who we're losing, ironically enough. Bowman, interior, 15.5. 10.5 for Myers, 9 for Haynes, and Hunter with 6.5. Interceptions were low, in fairness. Kicker's great. Punter's decent. I have not had a kick return, punt return, touchdown this entire rebuild, which is a little bit of an L. MVP goes to Mahomes. Any award wins at all? Maybe? No? Anyone? I felt like we had somebody, right? I guess not. I lied. I was going to check one more time, just to make sure it was the Chiefs' offense I used, not the defense, because left in, right in. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Left in, right in, playing better than the damn outside linebackers in a 3-4. Whatever, I guess. Here we are, though, as a 90 overall, headed to the divisional round, going up against the Commanders, where it kind of started. It all started. 90 overall, they're an 87. Is it our year? I don't know. I would love to just at least make it to the championship round, maybe the Super Bowl. But this is all up to EA's hands now. All right, go to the end of the game. Nothing. They get a touchdown. We get a touchdown. They get a massive rushing touchdown. They're up by 10, and even though we're the better team, as with EA usually, we're getting smoked on. I don't know what the hell is wrong with this goddamn game, honestly. EA honestly just hates the Vikings. It's been like this for Maddens now, where they just never do anything in Sim. We've seen really bad teams do well, and it's just never the Vikings. I don't know what it is. I really, honestly don't know what it is. It's annoying, but I did everything I could. We built a great roster, and EA just said no. They just said no, simply put. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. I did back out of that game. Did the team win? They won the first game at least. Lost to the Dallas Cowboys by 3, and then the Cowboys lost by 5 to the Jets. I guess let's take a look at the final roster and call it a rebuild. I mean, we did what we could, but once again, just didn't win in the Super Bowl or in the playoffs in general, get to the Super Bowl. We're already seeing Jefferson. He literally could not have went up any overalls, so there's no point in checking a look. Dalvin Cook, very solid. Still pretty good, even though he's 31 now. We'll take a look at Hawkinson next, who is now an X Factor, 96 overall. I mean, how is this offense even physically stoppable? Like, I just don't understand. I really don't. Like, this group of skill position players should be literally unstoppable. And yet, here we are, just not even winning games in the playoffs. Really good passing ratings for Singer. Throwing the run, play action, and break sack aren't great, but all those things don't really technically matter for a quarterback. They just don't, especially a pocket passer. They just don't matter. So it really doesn't matter anyways. Let's take a look at Darisaw. This is kind of what Darisaw should probably start as on overall, 90 overall, but he starts as an 81, so ends up as a 90 here at the end. O'Neal, I guess we'll take a look at. He actually had a really good season there. As you can see, he's a very good offensive lineman, but we just can't afford him, simply put. And then I guess we'll take a look at Mr. Jordan Addison. 26 years old now. Deep route sucks. Release never got up there, but great catching, solid short route, decent athleticism, medium routes decent. But yeah, I mean, he was really good at the start and then just fell apart from there, really. Bowman, now a superstar development trait player. Totally worth starting him. He's an 81 overall. Had a massive season for his last year. And then we'll take a look at the rest. Jaquelin Roy, we ended up trading a while back, right? He was very bad for us early. Gabe Weeks, decent block shedder. And then John Franklin Myers, who was totally worth that first-round draft pick we traded. But once again, the team as a whole just didn't do anything in the postseason. Andrew Booth, the 86 overall. Obviously, the AI kind of goes one way or the other for these guys. Great man coverage, no zone, where you would think you'd be on the same page. Not so much, as Byron Murphy is kind of iffy man. Great zone coverage. Not athletic really at all, to be honest. And then who do we have here? Tompkins actually went up in dev as a number 3. How does that always happen? These rookies, maybe it was it was at the end of the season. These rookies as the number 3s, they just do super well with the devs. I don't understand how that's possible. Lewisine was developed pretty stupidly, as he has no zone coverage, which is super disappointing, obviously. And then who else do we have? Daniel Hunter's a regression guy, so there's no point in showing him. Haynes, once again, 3-4s just suck. They really do. Honestly, the best bet for any rebuild is just to switch to a 4-3 as physically, as soon as physically possible. Stewart, who sat a year behind Harrison Smith, already 87 zone coverage. Would love to see some speed upgrades, but I think he did go up in 2 Excel, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken, though. And then the 2 linebackers, Abraham was not as great, but Huff, on the other hand, who just got his contract, 5-year 55, which is pretty nice. Superstar development, wrong player. Superstar development trait, youngster linebacker who is still very much so in his prime at 26 years old. Great block shedding, 78 zones, awesome. He's a great player. I mean, he's a great player. His speed is still lacking, but he's a great player nonetheless. And as disappointing it is that we didn't win a Super Bowl or even come close to, like I said, that's going to be it for this Minnesota Vikings realistic style rebuild. If you guys enjoyed, maybe leave a like, subscribe if you're new. If you're not new, I really, really do appreciate your continued support on the channel. Yesterday we uploaded 2 Miners episodes, which oh man, every time I feel like I have to watch what I say, because I've uploaded some videos of Miners. It's Miners franchise on Madden, maybe say next time. Tomorrow should be a Star Wars Jedi Survivor episode on the second channel, so if you've been following that series, check that out. No upload here on the main channel. Probably back with Miners franchise on Tuesday, maybe something else as well. And that's going to be it. If you guys have any suggestions for rebuilds in the future, especially a realistic style rebuild of a team I haven't done yet, maybe the Raiders or something like that, maybe do a Bears one, because the one I've done is kind of outdated and not true to real life. Let me know in the comment section below. Follow me on Twitter, Jeromepkr, and then once again, second channel, Pkr Plays, for those non-Madden channel videos, which right now, like I said, Star Wars Jedi Survivor is what we're playing. That's about it, though. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys come back for next video, but until next video, see ya!